What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for playpicks.com and thelines.com. Going to talk to you about this Titans and Ravens divisional playoff game here. As always, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up and let us know in the comments how you plan to play this game. A very interesting one due to the way that this thing lines up on the spread. And that's kind of what we're going to be taking a look at here. We'll go over to DraftKings and take a look where they sit right now. Sitting at 9.5 and 47 on the total. Over here at FanDuel, whenever you click on that NFL tab, you can see they are also sitting at 9.5 and 47. When we head over to PointsBet, and PointsBet again with these different juices and VIGs you got to pay here. So certainly if you are in a place where you can play at PointsBet, one of the options out there that you should be giving a look, and they have moved to 10. So they have moved to 10. Of course, you can see, want to get back to 9.5. It looks like at some point they are juicing you a little bit more. If you want that plus 10, reducing it pretty good if you want the minus 10, and they also are at 47 on the total. So as usual, we will go ahead and show you over here. You can see that they are absolutely free, these write-ups over on PlayPicks and the line. So I'll scroll down so you can start reading along here. These are actually, you can see just three of the different books out there. We looked at DraftKings and PointsBet already. Even Sugar House is out there sitting at 9.5 on this thing. Opened at 8.5 at DraftKings, actually went to 9 about 8 hours later. And then of course is at the 9.5 where it is right now. The total opened at 47.5, all the way down to 46.5, and then back up to where it is right now about 9 hours after that. If we look at the weather, it was looking really bad earlier in the week over in Baltimore, but now it looks like the worst of the weather is going to hit like way after the game here. So maybe some wind, but that's really, it seems to be about it. So it looks like Baltimore actually is going to be having some pretty nice weather. Let's take a look at the Titans here. And again, please continue to read along here. 9-7 overall and 8-7-1 against the spread. In the regular season, they won outright, of course, last week over in Foxborough. They covered that 5.5. Nice and easily. The Ravens 14-2 overall, 10-6 against the spread. Of course, they were on bye last week, getting that first round bye. If we look at the injury situation, Adoree Jackson was a guy that we were watching, for the Titans last week. He's not even listed on the injury report this week, so he should be good to go. Adam Humphries is someone we're keeping an eye on over for the Titans as well. On the Ravens side of things, Mark Ingram questionable, but he's looking like he's going to play through this calf injury. Of course, they've got a pretty decent little stable of running backs as well, but none as good as Mark Ingram. Mark Andrews is also listed as questionable, the standout tight end for this team, but he's been listed as questionable basically every single week since the middle of the season. Just been battling a ton of injuries, but he's going to play through this, so no need to worry about Andrews at all. Talk about this Titans offense. I'll scroll down a little bit further here so you can read along. Averaging 25.1 points per game, 362 yards per game. That is 224 passing and 139 rushing. 6.1 yards per play, fourth best in the NFL. Passing 53.1% of the time. They run at the fourth highest percentage of anyone in the NFL. So you look at these playoffs and the way that it breaks down, we have the four top heaviest run teams in the entire league. The Ravens, the number one heaviest run team. And then you go over to the other side with the Vikings and 49ers, second and third as far as how run heavy they are. And then you have right here that you have this team, the Titans, as the fourth. Passing the ball, they are number 6th ranked overall offense DVOA. Pretty shocking there, I think you would think, with this Tennesse Titans team. Would not expect them to be number 6th overall in offense. Number 6th ranked pass offense by DVOA, 4th graded pass offense by Pro Football Focus, and 12th graded pass blocking unit by Pro Football Focus. That being said, as good as the pass blocking is, Ryan Tannehill has had a tendency to hold on the ball a little bit too long. He's actually taking way too many sacks for as good as the pass blocking has actually been for him this year. So it's kind of a deceiving number when you look and you're like, wow, what do you mean they're the 12th best pass blocking unit? This guy's taking sacks all over the place. That really is more on Tannehill than it is this blocking unit. Rushing, 5th ranked rush offense in DVOA, 5th graded rush offense by Pro Football Focus, number 8th rated run blocking unit by Pro Football Focus. Of course, as you can imagine, they're having a ton of success on the ground. Converting just 37.8% of third downs, however, that's 18th in the league, so they're in the bottom half of the league when it comes to third down conversions. That said, they certainly make up for it when they do make it to the red zone. 75.5% red zone touchdown percentage. I mean, that's absurd. That is just completely absurd. Yes, that's the best in the league. And I would say in any other circumstance, completely unsustainable. But again, here we are at the end of the season, so it kind of is what it is. But 75.5%. So 3 out of every 4 times they get in the red zone, they score a touchdown and do not settle for a field goal. Let's look at the Ravens offense, and I'll scroll down a little bit further if you guys want to continue reading along. 33.2 points per game, tops in the NFL. There's going to be a theme here with this Ravens offense. 407.6 yards per game, 2nd in the NFL. 201 passing, 206 rushing. The 206 rushing, easily number 1 in the NFL. 6.1 yards per play, 3rd in the NFL. They run the ball 56% of the time. The most run-heavy team by far in the NFL. Number 1 ranked overall offense DVOA. Number 1 overall offense ranked by Pro Football Focus. Number 1 ranked pass offense DVOA, number 5 graded pass offense by Pro Football Focus, and number 1 graded pass blocking unit by Pro Football Focus. Let's go to the rushing side of things. Number 1 ranked rush offense DVOA, number 3 graded rush offense by Pro Football Focus, number 3rd graded run blocking unit by Pro Football Focus. They average 5.5 yards per carry on the season, guys. 5.5 yards per carry, easily number 1 in the league. They converted 47% of their third downs. 47%, 2nd in the league. They converted 70.8% of their 4th downs. Now, as you know, John Harbaugh is a guy that likes to be very, very aggressive, and you can see that in this. They actually averaged 1.1 4th down conversions per game. So they are going for it on 4th down every single game and converting nearly every single game. Red zone touchdown percentage at 67%, 2nd in the league, only behind that absurd 75.5% that we're getting from the Titans, their opponent in this game. I'll flip over here to the play picks breakdown if you want to read along over here with this one. Titans defense, 20.7 points per game allowed, 359 yards per game allowed. Only 104 rushing, but 255 passing. People were getting at this Titans secondary all year long. 16th ranked defense DVOA, 21st ranked pass defense DVOA, number 10th ranked rush defense DVOA. They are the 11th rated defense overall by Pro Football Focus, 25th rated pass rush, 20th rated coverage grade. So they're not getting to the quarterback and they don't cover very well. Not a great combo to have, especially against the number 1 offense by a mile in the NFL. As a whole, giving up 5.4 yards per play, and opponents are converting 36.2% of their third downs. The Ravens defense, on the other hand, and I'll scroll down so you can continue reading along. 17.6 points per game. So defense, that's 3rd in the league, actually, that they gave up points-wise. 300.6 yards per game, also 3rd in the league. They gave up 207.2 passing yards per game. That was 6th best. And 93 rushing, which was 4th best. So this isn't really heralded as one of those, great defenses in this league or whatever. And look, a lot of times you're playing in favorable game script and teams kind of get out of their game plan and whatever. But hell, that's part of it, right? Number 4 ranked defense DVOA overall. Number 4 ranked pass defense DVOA overall, but the 19th ranked rush defense DVOA, this Ravens squad. Number 14th ranked defense overall by Pro Football Focus. So a little bit of different opinion at Pro Football Focus than over on the DVOA side of things. Their pass rush way down at 28th, but their coverage grade all the way up at 9th. So if you can't get to the passer, at least as long as you can cover, you're not going to get totally torched, which is what we saw with the Titans team. Not only did they not rush the passer, but they didn't cover very well either, which is why the secondary got eaten up. At least with this team, whenever you take a look at this, yeah, they might not get to the passer all that well, but they cover really well. As a whole, 5.2 yards per play given up. Opponents converting 37.1% of their third downs. That is actually best in the NFL. So let's go over here and let's take a look at this total. Again, 47 across the board at all of the sites that we are looking at over in Jersey and as well as Pennsylvania. So sitting at 47. So let's go ahead and make a case for the under. One of the cases for the under is, of course, is kind of what we were talking about when we were looking at that at the Vikings and the 49ers game. You have two of the top four most run-heavy teams in all of the NFL playing in this very game. You have the number one most run-heavy team in the Ravens and the number four most run-heavy team in the Titans. If you watched what the Titans did last week against the Patriots, they're perfectly fine running the ball basically every single play if it's working. And we saw that last week. Ryan Tannehill threw for under 100 yards, guys. Like under 100 yards in that game because Derrick Henry was just having his way. Chomp, 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 chomp up the clock. And as you saw, I mean, sans that, 5 seconds left in the game, pick six. The game was 14-13. 27 total points scored in that game. Now, the Ravens have a much better offense, and that's certainly, I'm not going to say we're looking at a 14-13 game. I'm just saying they're perfectly fine with running that type of ball control offense and not really getting in a shootout if they don't have to. Again, Ryan Tannehill threw for under 100 yards in that game. I think another way that this thing could get under is, look, can the Titans even do their part here? We talked about this Ravens defense, kind of under the radar good. And not a lot of people talk about this Ravens defense, but especially the secondary. Once they made that trade and they got everybody back and healthy and all of that, I mean, this secondary really, really stepped up and is playing super, super well. So if they can control Henry on the ground, which, by the way, if you take a look at what the Patriots did at halftime, I mean, they made adjustments, and Derrick Henry, they weren't letting him run outside as much anymore, and he had to kind of try to cut it back inside. It was 2 yards in a cloud of dust every single time that he got the ball, And so it was certainly one of those situations where if they go into this with saying like, hey, we're not going to let Derrick Henry kind of run to these outside tackle type situation. We're going to force him in here in the middle. And if you want to throw on us, could be a long day for the Titans, and they may not be able to do their part to get this thing over. So let's make a case for the over here. And I think the case for the over here is this Ravens offense is a friggin' machine. As we talked about, they averaged 33 friggin' points a game. So you don't really have to do that much if you're the Titans to help this thing get to the over, right? I mean, look, the other way that you look at how this game could get to the over, let's be honest. This is despite the fact that the Ravens run the ball as much as they do, they still score fairly rapidly. I mean, they get yards in chunks. Lamar Jackson had so many, led the league in 10-yard and 20-yard rushes. It was crazy the percentage of 10 yards and 20-yard rushes that this guy has. So even though they run the ball a ton, the way that they run the ball and how unique they are in doing it, they still just get huge chunks while they're doing it. They're not really just plodding down the field. They're really getting down the field and scoring. So one of the ways that, again, that being a way, and again, the other way would be the Titans. Hey, look, maybe Tannehill is not playing out of his mind. Maybe he's not playing over his head like I kind of feel like he is. Maybe this team is actually really, really good. Maybe A.J. Brown can actually find some success against this really good secondary here. And if that's the case, if the Titans can put up 24 points in this game, then yeah, I think the thing could cruise to the over. So that's how you kind of a case for the over and a case for the under here. Let's look at some player props in this game and see. Look, I think if you believe that the Titans are not going to be shut out in this game, an anytime score from Derrick Henry is sitting at 134, right? Yeah, you got to pay 134 to win 100, but what is the likelihood of Derrick Henry scoring the touchdown or one of the two touchdowns, or how many touchdowns you think that the Titans are going to score in this game? What is the likelihood of Derrick Henry scoring that touchdown? Pretty friggin' high, right? So, yeah, I would probably throw that. Not a huge unit play for me, but I would definitely get that in my account. The other one that is fairly interesting here is if you take a look at these these passing yards. So both are sat at 220.5 right now. Both, if you want the over, you're actually, even money on Tannehill and get a little bit of plus money here on Lamar Jackson. Now, I understand that they do run the ball a ton, this Ravens team. However, we talked about how much the Titans give up in the secondary, how much they give up in the passing game. But we also talked about how efficient the Ravens passing game actually is. Yeah, they don't pass a ton, but when they do, they're the best in the league at it. It's from an efficiency standpoint. And again, you look, DVOA, PFF, they all love this pass game. They just don't do it a ton because they don't have to. They're so successful running the ball. Well, hey, man, I think Harbaugh is sharp enough to come out and do what he has to do to play to the weaknesses of his opponent. And that would certainly be through the air here. Not a big play for me. I actually have just a quarter unit play in on the over here, but do like me the over in this one. I'm wondering if we take a look over on these other sites, if we could get a better number. Yeah. So here's 215 actually. So we can actually take the 215 over here. I would rather pay the juice and get the, a ton of fewer yards here than the 220. But, look, either way is perfectly fine with me. Get a small little plus money on the 220, or you could take the over on the 215 over here over on FanDuel. So let's, the only other thing that I was at least kind of considering here is over rushing yards on Ryan Tannehill sitting at 13. I mean, this guy like scrambles kind of under the radar again, like kind of scrambles for 25, 30 yards every single game. I imagine that over 13 and a half in this situation, and especially in a situation where I think that there's a decent chance you can see sitting at 14 and a half over here, over on FanDuel, that they could be playing from behind and a pretty big deficit in this game. And if that were the case, then he's dropping back for passing, nothing's available. Boom. He takes off, takes what he can get. That's kind of how I'm playing that, is because I do believe this is going to be a struggle for this Titans team, which leads me to the position on this game here. I know it is a big total. I mean, I know it is a big number here. Guys, again, full disclosure, I was waiting on these numbers to pop. I was able to get on them very, very early. I have the Ravens at 8.5 in my account. No real big difference between 8.5 and 9.5, other than the fact that 8.5, I was able to get an easy teaser play on it as well. I have the teaser with the 49ers and the Ravens, was able to get the Ravens down to 2.5, was able to get the 49ers at 6.5 down to a half a point. Now, if you wanted to play a 6.5 point teaser or a 7 point teaser in this one, I don't think it is the worst thing in the whole world. You would be taking the 49ers down to a pick. And of course you'd be getting the Ravens under that field goal. That being said, I am fairly comfortable enough in a win here from this Ravens team that if you wanted to just play a 6 point teaser, or even if it just makes you feel more comfortable, more warm and fuzzy inside a 6.5 to put the Ravens on a 3, as opposed, so that it, field goal at least pushes for you as opposed to loses. I don't hate that either, but I do not see a path to victory for this Titans team. If you watch how that game went last week, right? Yeah, Derrick Henry was having his way in the first half. No doubt about it. He was going absolutely bonkers. Well, what happens? The Patriots made a big defensive shift, and after that, it was nothing from Henry. Second half, go back and watch that game. It was nothing. They forced him to stay inside. They didn't allow him to continue to get outside. They didn't allow him to get in these one-on-one tackling situations with these dudes where he was just plowing over people. And he did not have near as much success at all in that game in the second half. And I think Harbaugh saw this. Harbaugh is a sharp dude. He looked at what they were able to do to neutralize Derrick Henry. And if you don't think that he's going to do that from the get-go, I don't really know what to tell you. If you think less of Harbaugh than I do, I think he's one of the top 3 coaches in all the NFL. Then you look here at Ryan Tannehill throwing against this secondary. Look, good luck in that. I mean, listen, A.J. Brown has been fantastic this year. He's still a rookie wide receiver. Corey Davis has certainly not lived up to any expectation whatsoever. Adam Humphries is all banged up. So maybe you have to abandon Derrick Henry and go with Dion Lewis. I mean, I don't see the path to success for this Titans team if they are not able to run this offense through Derrick Henry. I think there's a very good chance that they get down pretty early in this game. And if that's the case, you can keep running with Derrick Henry if you want to, but try coming back from a 14-point deficit against this Ravens team and the number 1 offense in the league, in a league that is not in a team that's not going to completely fizzle out like the Patriots. This is a real offense. Patriots had no offense whatsoever. We knew that going into that game. We still thought it would be good enough. I thought it would still be good enough. It wasn't. This Ravens team does have that offense. They will continue to score. And coming back from that deficit, coming back from an early deficit, good luck on that. The other thing I'm going to really be looking at, and this is if you live in a place that has good in game, I am really, really going to be hoping and praying that the Titans get the ball first in this and then score some way, shape, or form. Kick a field goal, or even, get a touchdown or something like that on the opening drive, to where I'm able to pounce on this Ravens team without them even touching the ball and getting it, well under this 9.5. If you like this 9.5, I would go ahead and take it, because I think this thing gets to 10. I think this thing closes at 10. I think this thing can get through the 10 actually once people really get in and get after this game here. I think this thing does get to double digits. And so I'm glad to have the 8.5 in my pocket. I would not pause at the 9.5 either if I wasn't already invested at the 8.5 number here. This total seems about right to me. I lean, you initially lean to the under whenever you kind of say like, oh, okay, these two run heavy teams, are the Titans really going to be able to score their part and do what they have to? But the problem for me is I think the Ravens could score a ton in this game. And then that comes where you get garbaged, and the Titans score, a couple of garbage touchdowns or something like that, or get some garbage points. And then you look up and then it's like, man, I can't believe this was a dead under the whole game. And then here comes these garbage points and this thing goes over. So I might look for some sort of in-game play on the total, but nothing pre-game for me, strictly because I'm just worried about how many points the Ravens are going to score. And when that becomes the scenario, that really does leave garbage time completely open for this Titans team. And really, I honestly think that's the only way that this Titans team is able to cover. And if you want to go that route, if you want to play the game of, hey, I think this is going to stay within a 14-point game, and the Titans could get a garbage time touchdown and cover, I wouldn't hate you for taking that angle. I just kind of believe that this Ravens team is going to be able to do whatever they want to here. And I think that they're going to be able to score at will. And I don't have enough confidence in this Titans team to be able to keep up with them. So those couple of player props that I mentioned, and the Ravens, again, if you want to tease this thing with the 49ers, do not hate that in the least bit. Same day teaser, so you'd get paid out. And if you wanted to roll that into games on Sunday as well, I'm with you there. I totally and completely understand and agree with you. Again, all of the content, guys, over here on Play Picks and the lines is absolutely free. So be sure and head over here. And again, if you live in any of the jurisdictions where you can play legally, click on any of these banners up here and take advantage of these free money bets, deposit bonuses, and all these different things like that. Like, be sure and take advantage of all this stuff. We get the edge on the casino right from the get-go here when they give us free money or a match bet or a free bet or whatever it might be. So let's go ahead and take advantage of those. And of course, we have the very best offers there is over here, over on the lines and Play Picks on the entire internet. So be sure and take advantage of those if you're going to play at all. As always, please subscribe to the channel. Please give us a thumbs up, and please let us know in the comments how you are going to play this game, and we'll continue to run the contest with here. Guess the exact correct score. Titans 77, Ravens 79, whatever it might be, exact score. If you get it exactly right, we'll send you an Amazon gift card. Our gift to you, Happy New Year 2020 here. So we want to make sure that you guys continue to follow us all the way through the course of the year here. We'll be back for the Titans and Chiefs game. Good luck, guys.